Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Principal Cairo broadcast, sponsored by DE and Band of Brothers around the world. Hey, October 23rd through October 26th is DE. Getting ready, so get ready. And the room block ends October 6th. So really, there's no reason for you not to be getting registered tonight and getting your room block booked for the room. So again, it's down in Atlanta at the Atlanta Marriott Perimeter Center, October 23rd through 26th. Hey, make sure you get involved in your teams. If you don't know what team you are, reach out to DE. They'll let you know. But I think it's very important that these connect teams are talking and communicating between the meetings. And that way, when you come, we're ready to roll. Again, celebrate your victories. And if you have any trouble, any questions, there's people on that team I know that have been through whatever the heck you think that you never, that maybe you're not experienced, but there's somebody has been. So reach out to that. Let's energize that sucker and let's get ready to roll. Tonight's speaker is a good dear friend of mine. He's part of my Band of Brothers, been coming to our Band of Brothers for probably 8 to 10 years. He's originally from a little small town outside of Kansas City, practices there in the heart of Overland Park. He's been practicing 22 years, went to Cleveland. He's a married father of 3, just a great guy, one of the most spiritual people I know. And when you see him, you'll say, oh, I know that guy. And you won't believe he's been in practice 22 years because he looks so daggum young. So for no further ado, let's hear it for JJ Schmidt. Go ahead, Doc.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be able to share. And I'm just grateful. It's a beautiful evening here in Kansas City. I'm up here at the school right outside of my house. And I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. Again, I'm excited. I've been in practice for 22 years. And it all kind of started really when I think I was probably 8 years old. And my mom was a single mom. I have an older sister and a younger sister, and my mom was cutting hair at home. And one of the students from Cleveland Chiropractic at the time was friends with my uncle, her brother, and he came over to get his hair cut and brought his portable table to trade out, I guess, and I got adjusted. And so that, there's something about that. Looking back, I'm like, that definitely opened my eyes to something bigger, that possibility, and and so that's when I got my first adjustment. I realized later on, once I started coming to DE, I realized I hadn't actually been adjusted by a licensed chiropractor for until I started chiropractic college. And so it's kind of funny that I'd been adjusted by a student, and then I got adjusted there in the student clinic um, once I started chiropractic college. But it wasn't until I got into once I actually got into chiropractic college, I got adjusted by an actual licensed chiropractor. So I do want to share something just to start off. I feel like this has helped me to stay grounded here recently, and that is from the Meadowland experience. And so I'm just going to read that real quick and follow along here with me. Page 2, it says, this is Sid Williams saying, now what we have here at DE is a camaraderie that has held up for 20 plus years. Now it's been 60 years. With some of us even longer. We have dedication and commonness of purpose to an inner wisdom. And this inner wisdom we're speaking of, this inner unity, is a friend within. Everyone of us have a loving, warm, friendly, innate consciousness within us that's always open and susceptible to our suggestions and our mandates and our desires and our ambitions. But most people don't recognize it. They don't have any idea about this friend within. They don't have any idea how to overcome negative emotional momentum. So they spend their lives in frustration, reading about spiritual awareness, about spiritual development, about innate development, about business development, while we recognize that there have always been a few people who are able to touch something different. This ancient wisdom, a few people have been just kind of knowing this forever, this remnant of people. These people may be insignificant looking, may even look like Southern rednecks, but they have something magical about them. There's a certain attractiveness, a certain authority, a certain being, a certain presence, a certain enthusiasm, a masculinity or femininity about them, or a mixture of all these qualities, so that their presence engenders a warm, friendly, loving state. And the best thing we can accomplish in this intensive at the Meadowlands is to give you something that you'll leave with the feeling of openness, the kind of openness that comes after long walks by the ocean. He goes on to say, what I want to leave you with is the feeling you get when you walk on the beach alone, or maybe with a lover or a close friend, a friend you don't have to sell or influence or solve the major mysteries of life with, where you just walk, listening to the waves and letting the sound of the ocean soothe you. Now, if you can get this feeling completely relaxed and free and open, you can walk into your office and see all the things that are wrong, but not only that, have the inner direction and the inner guidance produced by the wisdom that comes purely from within. Then you'll have a new kind of knowledge to build your practice. And so, yeah, starting off in practice, I grew up in Kansas City. All my life I've been in Kansas City, and then I went to undergrad down in Springfield, Missouri, and my roommate in college had gotten into a minor fender bender, and so he was going to the chiropractor, and I just went with him a couple of times and was, I guess, intrigued by it. So looked into Cleveland. I had most of the prereqs out of the way already, and so I thought, you know what, I'll just go for it, and I did. And looking back, it was like a great decision, but there's a time when I really didn't think that. I was probably 8 years into practice, actually for quite a while there, between 8 years and just about 8 years ago. So been in practice 22 years. My daughter was born when I first started practicing, and now she's 22. And so yeah, there's I started out in a group practice, and for anybody that's listening, maybe a student that is looking into like doing an associateship or doing an independent contract or starting your own practice from scratch or purchasing a practice, definitely contact me if you need input, because I feel like I have some perspective on a lot of those things. I've done multiple associates, multiple independent contracts. I have purchased a practice, been a part of group practices, had solo practice, had my own group practice. And so I can definitely give you some heads up, just some insights I think that could maybe prevent some of the problems that I had. So but yeah, some good experience over the last few years. I think the vision I got after going to the DE intensive in Kansas City was, it just really broadened my perspective on chiropractic and just my own vision for what I wanted out of my practice. The thing that kind of jumped to me was I wanted to have something sustainable, because I was a part of a group of 10 chiropractors when I first started out, and I wanted something that was a little more sustainable long term and make it a win-win-win for everybody. The owner, the person that's the independent contractor, the associate, and then also the patient in the community. So um, yeah, I've tried a lot of different things. Here recently have had a sense of, I would say, discouragement or disappointment, because about a year ago I did have a group of three. It was me and two other doctors in my office, and the vision was really to have all of us seeing at least 300 a week. So I thought it'd be great to be able to see 1,000 a week. I feel like that's something that's doable physically, and our community would support that, and there's the need there, obviously. But just about less than a year ago, the older doctor that had been in practice for over 30 years retired, and he actually had a stroke and was forced to retire. Then the younger doctor, who was just out of practice, he decided to start his own, go to his own space. And that was a little discouraging, just because we realized there was a difference of our core values. And so when you invest in people, it can kind of hurt when they leave. And so that, I'm still kind of licking my wounds from that. But I actually heard the voice of Chase Dice come into my ear the other night, and he's like, "Man up! It's time to man up." So I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, so a little bit about me. I have three kids. My oldest is 26, getting ready to get married here in a few weeks. And my daughter's 22. She's going to graduate from hair school in 3 weeks. And then my youngest is 8, and he was actually just born when I went to that first DE intensive in Kansas City. And anybody that came to that and spoke, or just came, I mean, thank you so much. I see in you guys what I see in this group that I'm going to share about here in a little bit, this remnant that you read about in the Old Testament, remnant of these people. And there's these common characteristics that I see in you guys that are in them. And so thank you for just coming to Kansas City 8 years ago to share, just your wisdom, your love for chiropractic, your love for each other. The camaraderie I saw was so powerful. And I know a lot of people were impacted by that. I think Joe Parpola, he said that was his first DE as well. So, yeah, thank you for everybody that came for that. And my son was first born when I went to that. He was a baby, and I was carrying him around, and that was a fun experience actually because we did a home birth with him, and so I got to deliver him at home, and just the purity that I see in him from hearing other chiropractors go before me who have paved the way and said, hey, we don't need to do the medical model. We don't need to give all these injections necessarily. You have make an educated decision on that. And so we did, and to see his just to see his purity is really special. So yeah, he was with me at that first DE, and now he's running around as a second grader playing baseball. And I see him running around with all the DE kids when I go down there, and he loves hanging out with all the DE kids. So yeah, there's been a lot that's happened over the last few years, and I'm really grateful for our band of brothers. We're starting to meet again as well, which is really encouraging. And I'm grateful for the morning call with the 49 breaths. I'm grateful for um, just the principles. Like I didn't even get a green book until probably 3 years ago, and I've been, reading through the chiropractic textbook. Um, so the bigness of the fellow within, and like just after that many years in practice, finally just now discovering these fundamentals that are just ingrained into a lot of you guys. Like I got excited. I shared with the Monday Night Band of Brothers a few weeks ago, and I got excited just talking about like what is the major premise, and just when it was asked at this last DE from stage, and I was like, oh man, I know this. Like, there's a universal intelligence that's in all matter, and it continually gives to that matter all of its properties and its actions, and it maintains it in existence. Like that's like really exciting that I kind of had that written on my heart, and then the when someone asked what is the dynamic essential, just that there is a new spirit born into a person when they become aware, humble, and obedient to that wee small voice or the spirit, and that uh, makes you dynamic. It makes you very flexible, very stable, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all these things, and that is really essential to have an abundant life, to live abundantly, to live life to the full. And then the lasting purpose, to give, to love, to serve, to do out of my own abundance just for the sake of it, without expecting any return, but just trusting that all my needs will be met, all my desires will be fulfilled. And there's a huge trust factor in that that's what I've been kind of battling with here lately, is like, do I really believe that the lasting purpose love is possible in business and practice, because there's, you kind of have expectations. I have expectations. I expect to be able to pay my bills. I expect to be able to, um, you know, pay my rent in my office, and to make a profit, and to continue to provide for my family. So there's an expectation, but at the same time, I know that it's really more based on trust. And if I just continue to give without expecting other than just to like continue to give, and all my needs are met. So the story of that I wanted to share with this group of people is what I read about here lately in Nehemiah, and we've been reading through the Old Testament through like Esther and Nehemiah, and there's these group of like what happened was the Israelites, the ancient Jewish people, were exiled, so they're taken as slaves to a different land of Babylon, and they were basically they tried to like convert them to their culture. And so if you remember Meshach, Shadrach, Abednego, Daniel, all those young guys said, "No, we're not going to conform. We have this conviction, and we're not going to conform." And a few generations later, there were still people who had that same boldness, that same belief that what they the principle that they held to was worth fighting for, dying for. And that's where I see, this commonality is like we have a remnant of people who have withstood the challenges throughout the last 100 years, and in the seeing the profession go through different things. But with Nehemiah, he had it on his heart to go back and from Babylon, which was taken over by Persia, and it was like the world empire at the time. King Xerxes, might remember from the movie 300, and how they allowed these Jewish people to go back to their homeland and build the temple. So the temple was like this place of where they would honor their God, and they'd feel God's presence in the temple. They had the Ark of the Covenant housed there. So anyway, Nehemiah had it on his heart to go back and to. He heard that the wall surrounding it, the protection around this, was in ruins, and it really bothered him because he knew that they were just getting, all the people there were just getting pelted. They were just getting destroyed by the people around them, ridiculed. And so I see that with even our profession. Our profession is getting beat up pretty bad. It's getting pulled different directions, and that's what I was feeling during that time. Um, you know, Prior to 8 years from now, I was just feeling like a wave, a ship tossed by a wave in the ocean, and just kind of pulled different directions, doing whatever the insurance said to do, charging what insurance said to charge, and not really knowing, my purpose in the profession in chiropractic. And so I don't know. I just really am grateful for this story because I feel like Nehemiah is an example of somebody who held true to what he believed and went back. And he not only did he go back, but he couldn't even go back. He was actually a cupbearer for the king, King Artaxerxes. And so he was like, you think of Secret Service and how they would, how they protect the president, and they would jump in front of a bullet for the president. Well, this is kind of what Nehemiah, he was the cupbearer, so he had to test the food and the drink before the king did to make sure he didn't get poisoned. And so the king, he built a lot of trust with the king. And so when the king saw him downcast, he said, what's wrong? And Nehemiah told him the wall was in ruins. And he humbly asked him if he could go back and help rebuild it. And the king not only granted him permission to do that, but also gave him money from the treasury to get all the supplies, the resources, and take people with him and sign the letter to protect him. So all this authority that he gave um, Nehemiah. So anyway, I tell that story because I feel like that's really where I see a lot of you guys like stepping up in the profession. I think of Edwin Cordero, I think of Matthew McCoy, I think of these people who just see the big picture, and they have this boldness, they have this authority, this chutzpah that these Jewish people had to go and like um, just take action, take whatever action is needed to protect the remnant of these people and the people that they are called to help. And so, we're called to help the people in our neighborhood. The people that Nehemiah talked to that were there living in Jerusalem that didn't have the wall protection, that they said, just go build the wall in front of your home, and everyone do their part to build that section of the wall in front of your home. And so that's what I see us doing. We all have our own, area where we practice in our own city, and we're called to just build with what we have. And, a weapon in one hand and a tool in the other is what they were doing. And I see that with, a lot of these guys, Eddie Martinez and Moriarty and Steve. Just you guys are just working, you're using your tools, but you're also fighting. You're using your weapons at the same time, and it's very respectful and honoring. And so I just want to let you know I really appreciate being a part of this group. The reason I sat in front of this little space here because I feel like this wall kind of represents a little bit, helps me to see or visualize like what that would be like to stand in front of like the temple wall. And it takes work to cut these stones, to stack them on top of each other, maybe hand hewn back. And they were sure they're hand hewn back then. And they had to rebuild this temple wall that had been destroyed and turned into rubble. So these tiny stones were being stacked and bonded together with the blood, sweat, tears of these people. And so I see you guys bonded. I want to be a part of this for the rest of my life, and create those same bonds, continue to create those bonds which I've already created a lot, but I want to continue to create more. And so, yeah, that was the analogy. There is a section here I'll just read about it. The temple in Jerusalem was completed, but the wall of the city still lay in ruins. A city without a wall might as well just invite pillagers to come walk right to the open doors, you know. And if we don't have people protecting the profession, it's like it's just overtaken. People just come right in and change, do injections, you know, do whatever they want to and call it whatever they want to. And so a mission on this of this scope required permission from Artaxerxes, the king of Persia. And after praying for God's help, Nehemiah approached the king, who was pleased to send Nehemiah on his way with letters for safe conduct and supplies. It was hard work that laid ahead, but long days and restless nights. And I remember Walter Sanchez saying that long days and sleepless nights, long days and restless nights were in store for them. But Nehemiah packed up and he led his caravan towards Jerusalem. And so you guys pack up every 3 months. You know, you guys are packing up and going and meeting and just committed to the fellowship, committed to the camaraderie, committed to each other, committed to the principle. And I respect that. So I think I'll close with the quote that was sent out this morning on the DE line. And it said, see if I can find it here. Yeah, right here. Our illustrious father placed this chiropractic trust in our keeping to keep it pure, unsullied, or defamed. We pass it on to you unstained to protect, as we would have also, as he would also have you do, as he passed on, so will we. So we have this, you know, short time here. We're this remnant of chiropractic that we need to, you know, carry the torch and pass on these principles to the next generation. And I'm excited about it. It's fun to see, you know, our band of brothers again kind of rebuild and reconnect, and the younger docs stepping up, and just really renews my faith in humanity and in the principle and in really our creator, just to see that. So I appreciate you guys letting me share, and I look forward to seeing you next time we meet up. Love and appreciate you.
Hey, man, that was awesome. Thank you. A couple things you said, you know, you kind of questioned, do you believe that you can build a practice with lasting purpose? I don't know if you said only, but can you build a practice that is abundant with lasting purpose mindset, right? And I don't think you need to believe it. I think you need to own that, you know, own it. It's kind of like, you know, Dr. Sid always talk about I can, I will, I must, and keep saying I can, I will, I must, I can, I will, I must, until you own it. Because when you own it, then I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
You're in the process of that happening as we speak. And I like what you said about build what we have. You know, build you build yours in Overland Park, and I build mine in Kansas City, Kansas, and we'll make Kansas City a mecca for chiropractic. And that's what the DEs are. Like I say, we'll all pack up, go there for 3 months to just re-energize ourselves, to reunite ourselves, and say, hey, let's get our focus back, and then go back and kick ass again. I love that. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right, my man. Thank you, and have a great night, everybody. You just heard it from this guy. Let's make it go out and make it happen, and get registered. DE October 23rd through 26th, and don't wait till October 6th to get your book. Great job, night, JJ. Love you, man.
Thank you. Love you.
Good night, everybody.
Night.